Well,
Hi.
hi, Karman and Todd. So, I'm so lucky to be talking to you guys tonight. You have a beautiful home, and we just had a block party in our neighborhood. Um, so meet my neighbors, Karman and Todd Hotchkiss, who live just nearby, and they have a gorgeous home, and they had a wonderful display out. So I'm going to let them go ahead and talk about their home, its history, and one of their recent home improvements that they really are excited about.
Go ahead.
Right. So we live in a
1919.
1919 four square on 45th Street. We celebrated our house's 100th anniversary last year. The style is a four square, so the downstairs it's basically four rooms, down and up with a stairway in between. One of the craftsman, right? One of the things we discovered when we were researching the history of the house for the 100th anniversary is that it was built by a family who lived here for maybe only 2 or 3 years, and it changed hands a number of times through the early 1900s, and then was lived in by one woman for almost 25 years, 23. And we're getting close to having spent that much time in this house. So we're almost the longest owners of it, and probably the people who have put the most energy into updating and maintaining it over the years. So we've done a couple of projects, some big and some small. When we moved in, we made a list of the things that we wanted to do to the house, and we put a little dollar figure next to each one of how much we thought it would cost. And we found that list maybe 5 years ago, and we looked at the list, and about half of the things on the list we had done, and a couple of them were things that we still wanted to do, and a few were like, we're never going to do that.
Dollar figures were pretty optimistic.
Yeah, everything that we had done, we spent twice as much as our dollar figure estimate.
Yeah, wow. Well, but to be fair, it's gorgeous what you have done, and you clearly have really good taste. You've picked the right projects that really make your home stand out and look gorgeous, at least especially from the street.
Thank you.
So can I ask, so now Todd, I know you're an architect, correct?
Right. I'm an architect with Monarch Renovations, and this is the kind of stuff I do every day. And Karman,
Yeah.
she worked with Meredith, and for a long time she was working in building magazines and stuff like that. So it's kind of what she does all day. So in fact, when we did our kitchen, I was like, well, what do we want the kitchen to look like? And she comes back, she sends me a picture of, she sees hundreds of, kitchens a year. And so she sent me this picture, and oh yeah, we could do that. And then I started demo about 3 days later. And it just looks like the picture.
Wow. Well, that's cool. Well, I was going to say, you're doing things to a certain degree, or with quality and real vision. Our kitchen probably would not measure up. We did a remodel, but it's pretty, pretty low key, So, my other question was about the style of the house. I wanted to ask, it's called arts and crafts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of
Craftsman, arts and crafts bungalow. I think they all mean the same thing.
Okay, so they sort of look to me, and this is where you feel free to correct me, but they look to me to sort of have a Frank Lloyd Wright-ish kind of feel to them. Is that wrong? Is that wrong to say? Obviously his stuff was very different, much more linear, but there seems to be a little bit of a carryover. Since you guys know stuff about this, I wondered if you could, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but what's the correlation, of any?
Around 1900, well, there was a reaction against the Victorian era, which everything was so ornate, and detailed, and they wanted to make things flatter and more easily made by regular people and afforded by regular people. And they're like Green and Green is an architect, two brothers who did beautiful craftsman jobs in Pasadena, California, that are just impeccable. And they had a great deal of Japanese influence. They look almost Japanese if you look at it. And, you know, with big heavy timbers and stuff like that. And Frank Lloyd Wright was into the same thing because they're all contemporaries. They were doing things, but Frank Lloyd Wright's designs were more of the prairie style, where he saw the horizontal lines of the prairie and wanted to emulate that in his buildings. And he called it organic architecture, where there was a lot of stone, and even in these houses in Pasadena I was telling you about, the stone fireplaces or chimneys would come down onto the ground and then just kind of mold and turn into the landscaping without any kind of seam. It was like a seamless kind of natural form, like the house just grew out of the ground almost. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw some in Mason City. But I guess I wondered, so really you're saying that this too is a response, you know, his work was a response to the Victorian era, you know, it was a push away from that, as is your home. It's a push away. It was a more affordable, more linear, straight lines, accessible, clean kind of home for the middle class.
Yeah. And
is that fair to
in our neighborhood,
okay.
That's what we have here. Yeah.
That's what we are here, yeah. So my other question, and then I want to go back to your home improvement, is, so we learned during the block party, you know, all of a sudden you get to go and look in people's backyards, and you guys have a fairly nicely deep backyard, and you've got a fountain back there, and this really, it's very lovely landscape and your back deck and everything. But your yard is actually fairly conservative in terms of backyard space. Some of the lots then going north get progressively larger. And I understand, and maybe Todd, it was you who said it, I can't remember, or Karman, I can't remember, who mentioned that there had been this alley behind your house. So in all of your research about the house, of course, you probably learned about what our neighborhood looked like 100 years ago. Did you get a sense of, you know, what our neighborhood looked like? There was this alley behind it, obviously, on your side.
Not really.
Anything there?
Yeah, didn't learn so much about the architecture of the neighborhood then as about the people and who lived in what house and where they came from and where they moved to afterwards. One of the things we do know, as you say, is that there used to be an alley that ran down the back of the middle of this block, and at some point the city gave it up and just rolled that property into each person's yard, and that's why our garage is 2 cars long and only one.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's very weird. I mean, it's like, oh, there's 2 cars parked. Yeah, it's a very weird garage.
Yeah,
it's cool.
When the realtor sold us the house, she said that she had a customer who had the similar situation. So they bought 2 identical cars and they got them keyed the same way. So it didn't matter which one was in front and which was in back, which is dumb.
Brilliant.
Okay. That other car.
That's cool. Well, so I guess the only other thing, I don't know if you feel this, but I feel it sometimes when I'm living in a house, you know, living in a house that's 100 years old, and I wonder, how the heck did they store things? How did they use the space differently with the things that they had back then versus what we do now? I mean, we don't have a lot of closets in the house, per se, and a lot of these homes around here had really odd kitchens that were super small.
The kitchen
I'm just
designed as a workspace just for maybe the help even. And sometimes they have a back stairway. So, and there's maybe we have one that's a bedroom that's really small. So it's like the maid's room. And they had people that did work, and they didn't give them the glorious space that, you know, West Des Moines has, you know, the social
Yeah.
kitchen room that we all long for. But yeah.
So yeah, I complain sometimes there's no closet anywhere on the first floor of our house. My vacuum cleaner sits out because I don't have a closet. You know, there are things that we give up by living in an old house like this, like closets. Upstairs where we have bigger closets, those have been added by previous homeowners. One of the things we love about living in a house of this age is that we don't really have any wasted space. We use every room in our house. We eat in our dining room because it's the only place that there is to eat. And I really like that about living in a house like this, that we use all the space and we live in it every day.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely make a commitment to live in an old house. So I guess finishing up, what you like I say, you've done your street view of your house is gorgeous. You guys did a really great landscaping project, and you recently painted it. And again, you guys have awesome taste. What's your favorite home improvement to date? One that you're really proud of?
The deck. When we bought the house, in order to get from the house, the kitchen, to the backyard, you had to go out a door, down some concrete steps to the driveway, and then go into the backyard through a chain link fence. And
Wow.
there was no flow, you know? And so I kind of, well, Sunday we're going to remodel the kitchen, and maybe we'll have an island, and so we were kind of visioning what the kitchen would look like before we did it. But the first thing that we wanted to do was open up the house to the backyard. So we we switched the location of one of the doors and one of the windows. And we'll show you pictures afterwards. You can edit that in. But it was like transformational, because you could immediately get right into your backyard. And then we made this kind of a gateway from the driveway into the backyard that you go through. You're in the backyard space, and then you come up into the kitchen. Much more graceful way of entering the house.
Yeah, it really looks nice.
To sum it up, the indoor-outdoor connections are things that we really spent some time thinking about and have improved the way we live in the house and,
like right here,
experience the neighborhood.
When we moved in, let's walk forward. This door.
Oh, yeah, your entryway is really interesting. Yeah.
Right here. And so we took this, we pushed the door back so that you could come up and open the door this way instead of opening the door this way. You know, we had to go down the steps.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so that wasn't the way that it was in the beginning.
No.
Wow, that's cool.
Well, when we got it,
Wow.
actually, it was probably an open porch when it was first built, and we didn't want to give up having an office in the front part up here. So.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's a really beautiful house. And you know how we're going to do the pictures? I'm going to get them from you, or have them, if you have them digitized, you can send them to me, and I'll include those in the post along with this interview. So, you know, I'm really grateful for your time today. Your house is really awesome, and you guys have done some really cool things to it. And thanks for your time and for being a neighbor.
Thanks for being interested.
Hi, Wayland Park.
Bye.